Hello everyone, welcome into Deacon's NFL Talk. I'm your host Deacon. Welcome back to another episode on the channel, episode 61, I believe. And this week it's another short NFL news topic thing wise. We only have 3 topics this week. 2 of them are actually going to be about new uniform and helmet changes, and one of them is a big injury for this one NFC team. After that, we will have 6 topics of quick hits, so beating the timer will be a bit more challenging than the past few weeks. After that, we have 1 reaction to get to, and it involves a 4-team trade made by CBS Sports. I cannot wait to get into that because it is pretty wild. After that, I'm going to be revealing my top 10 running backs going into the 2025 season. Stay tuned for that. We have 1 quiz, 1 question of the week, and that will sum up episode 61 of Deacon's NFL Talk. Alright everyone, we're going to jump right into this week's episode. So, to start off, we are starting off with the main topic, and that is the Buccaneers left tackle Tristan Wirfs is going to miss the start of the 2025 season. So this is pretty big news for this Buccaneer team. And before I go through like their first 4 games of this year, Wirfs underwent surgery for his right knee on Tuesday and found some additional damage during the surgery. I guess he re-aggravated a knee injury he suffered last season, which caused him to miss 1 game all year. So anytime you go in for a surgery and then find more additional damage, something like that, it's never a good sign. I mean, he's expected to be on the PUP list to start the year with no timetable for return. The PUP list stands for physically unable to perform list. And yeah, so I believe I still don't think there's like an actual official day or week that he will return. I'm pretty sure it's kind of like we're all just kind of like looking at it blind. We have no clue when he's going to return, but he will likely miss at least 4 games, if not potentially more. It really just depends on how bad the injury is. The first 4 games will be at the Falcons, at the Texans, versus the Jets, and versus the Eagles. So, I mean, obviously, I think the Falcons is very winnable. I think the Texans one will be tough, especially with their defensive line, with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. I think it could go either way in that game. Against the Jets, I think he can get the job done. I think right now they're 2-1, even without Wirfs, but against the Eagles, I think that's a loss. So really, without Tristan Wirfs, if he misses at least 4 games, I can see them going 2-2. Now, if they did have Wirfs in these games, would I have changed their win-loss record? Maybe give them a win against the Texans, but other than that, I would still say it's at least 2-2 to 3-1. I do not think they're going to beat the Eagles. I highly doubt that. But the Eagles and Texans games without him is going to be rough, I think, because, I mean, obviously the two both have really good defensive lines. I mean, especially on the edge. The Texans, like I just mentioned, Anderson and Hunter. And then the Eagles, obviously, we all know the Eagles' defense is outstanding. And so, yeah, I think the Falcons and Jets are definitely winnable games. I think they will get the job done in those. But the Eagles and Texans those games, those are going to be tough. Charlie Heck, a 6-year veteran with 23 starts, is in line to be the next man up. He was recently with the 49ers, I believe, this past season. So maybe he has a little bit of, maybe he learned a little bit from Trent Williams, which would obviously help him out a lot for sure. But yeah, we'll see how the Bucs do to start the season. I think they will definitely be a playoff team, winning their division. They're really the only team that's really challenging them right now is probably the Falcons and Panthers, and I think the Panthers might put up a better challenge than the Falcons will. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I still think the Bucs are gonna win this division, whether they have Wirfs or not. So, but at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. I hope he returns as soon as possible. Hopefully it's not more than 4 games because that'd be pretty rough. I'm gonna pull up their schedule real quick because I do want to see if he does miss more than 4 games. I would say he can miss. I could be wrong here, but I would not be shocked if he missed at least or at most 5 to 6. So, after the Falcons, Texans, Jets, and Eagles games, that would go to Seattle and versus the 49ers. So then you have the Lions right after that. He should be back by then. I mean, that's 6 games already. So then the Lions game will be the 7th, unless he for some odd reason misses the season. But I wouldn't get too worried about that. I think he will be just fine. So I think there's plenty of optimism that he will not miss the year. Okay, don't worry about that. We're going to go into the second topic. The Commanders unveil Super Bowl era alternate uniforms. So these are actually really, really sick uniforms. I'm honestly kind of surprised that they aren't their home or away uniforms, because I think they look a lot better than their current ones. I'm going to pull up their uniforms right here. So here's a picture of who is this? 54. Is that Bobby Wagner? I feel like he's on the Seahawks. I'm not sure. But this is like a little bit of a mixture of the old Redskins and the Commanders now. Obviously, the logo is really what makes them the Commanders. I think these are like the Redskins uniforms, but except with the Commanders logo. And I think they look awesome. I really do. I think these could definitely be their away uniforms, and then, like swap out the colors for the home. I think that's what I would have done personally. But yeah, I mean, they look fine either way. I think these are probably one of the best alternate uniforms in the league. I mean, they just look so clean. I'm gonna pull up another one. Here's one of Frankie Louvu. I mean, I don't know. There's something about it. Maybe it's just like the Redskins look, but there's just something about these that kind of catches my eye. And honestly, I think they're probably up there for one of the best alternate uniforms in the league. Just the way they look on some of the players is just really nice. Here's a close-up of the helmet. Not really anything too special. Really just a gold stripe down the middle with 2 white stripes on the edges right beside it. They have the gold face mask. They have the Commanders logo, the maroon like helmet, whatever you want to call it. Like I forget the word. But yeah, I think this is a really, really nice uniforms, and the helmet, by the way. But the Commanders will wear the new uniforms 3 times this season, so Commanders fans could definitely get used to seeing their team wearing I'll call them the Redskins threads. Redskin threads. I kind of like that. That's what they should call them. I don't know if they actually have an actual name for it. But Washington plans I guess Super Bowl era. Washington plans to wear the new threads in Week 9 versus the Seahawks, Week 13 versus the Broncos, and Week 17 versus the Cowboys. The Cowboys and Commanders game, that's going to be interesting. I cannot wait for that one. The Commanders Broncos, those two will definitely be very entertaining games. Washington revealed the uniform and helmet on Wednesday, which was the team's 93rd birthday. So, I mean, why not come out with a new uniform and helmet? The uniforms are a mix of the franchise's past and present, according to somebody with the Commanders. Maybe it was the owner or something. I can't remember. Someone quoted that. This past season, the Commanders became the second team to go from 13 losses to 13 wins, including the playoffs. So, obviously, the Commanders are definitely going to be as good as they were last year, if not better. I think they have a good shot at being even better than they were last year. But like I mentioned last week, if you're a team that is has 13 losses and then you come out and make the playoffs with 13 wins or whatever, people are going to start coming for you. And you were the hunters. This year, you're going to be the hunted. Everyone knows who you are now. So there's really no hiding anymore. That's what I mentioned last week. But, it happened with the Bengals right now currently. It happened with the Texans just this past year. And we'll see if it'll happen to the Commanders. It will be interesting. It feels like there's always some sort of cycle. Like the Panthers, I feel like the Panthers or Raiders really will be like the breakout team of the year. But who knows? Patriots are also up there as well, but we'll see. Maybe there's a different team that I'm not even mentioning. But yeah, great uniforms. I really like the look, and I cannot wait to see them wear these in, Week 9? Their first time. Yeah, Week 9 is going to be the first game wearing the uniforms. So that'll be interesting. The Saints are going to reveal their white alternate helmet for the upcoming season. Already did that, and I can tell you one thing for sure. This is definitely a great helmet. I really love the look of this. Here's a somewhat of a full look. You can't really see it here, but there is like some black spots on the helmet. It gives it a good texture look, I think. The gold face mask, I love that part. The gold stripe down the middle, the two black ones right next to it on the edge. The Saints logo. I think this is clean. I don't think have they ever had a gold face mask in their franchise? I don't think they have. So there's a first time for everything, I guess. But yeah, I really like these a lot. I really do. And I think the Saints have not announced when they'll wear this, so it will be interesting to see what week they choose. Maybe they've already announced it or not. I'm no Saints fan, so I'm not deep into that stuff. There's another one. I don't know if you can see this or not. No, you can't. But you can see, if you can see right here, the gold stripe, it has like little Saints logos in it on the bottom. I think that's really cool. It has, I don't know, it gives it a lot more detail than just a basic solid stripe. So I think this definitely gives it a lot more detail and it just makes the helmet a lot better in general. I think it looks really nice. Maybe you can see it on this one. You can kind of see it, like the little black specks on the helmet. I don't know. There's just something about it that just gives it a good texture look. I like it a lot. I think they should definitely wear this at least 2 or 3 times this year. And yeah, I mean, I think so I guess the Saints, I'm assuming that they'll wear this with their white uniforms. I believe they will. I mean, this new helmet could be worn with their white Color Rush uniforms, so I would not be shocked if they did that at all. I think that'd look great, actually. But New Orleans already has black helmets as well with their whatever their Color Rush is. So they have white and black, which is a good combo to have. Normally, the Saints wear alternate or Color Rush uniforms during primetime games. They don't currently have a primetime game on their schedule. They do have one game that is still to be determined. Like, basically, that means they don't know when that game is going to be played. So I don't know when exactly. Like, if they do wear it like for a primetime game, it'd have to be January 4th, 2026. Because that game is they don't know what time that game is going to be played. But the latest game that the Saints have is 4:25 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll see. I think they'll definitely wear it against a division rival, but I mean we'll find out sooner rather than later. But yeah, we're gonna go on to quick hits. That is all for the NFL news. We have 6 topics of quick hits to get to. I'm gonna pull up the timer right here. I don't know. This is gonna be a lot more tough to beat this time than the last time. Last time we only had like 2 or 3 topics, maybe even 4. I can't quite remember. But this time, it's definitely going to be a lot harder. So, let's see if I can do it. My best might be around 6, maybe a little bit less. So, we'll see if we can get a new record. With that being said, we're going to jump right into this. Here we go. Cowboys kick returner Kevontae Turpin arrested on misdemeanor marijuana and weapon charges. The police arrested him last Saturday. Turpin signed a 3-year, $18 million deal this offseason. Dallas signed Turpin out of the USFL in 2022. Longtime Cowboys tight end Pettis Norman dies at 86. Norman also played for the San Diego Chargers in his last 3 years of a 12-year career. Norman helped Dallas win their first NFC title and has been praised as a great player on and off the field. That's a great person to be. Vikings outside linebacker Dallas Turner lost $240,000 in a bank fraud scheme. Roughly $2,500 has been recovered, and Turner was the target of this scam. Joe Burrow cancels Batmobile purchase after home burglary. Burrow revealed the news on Netflix's quarterback show. Burrow said the burglary made him rethink his purchase, and his home was burglarized during a Week 14 matchup against the Cowboys. 49ers wide receiver Demarcus Robinson pleads no contest to a misdemeanor DUI charge. Robinson was arrested in November and was sentenced to 36 months in probation and forced to pay a $390 fine. Robinson was charged for driving under the influence in January, and at the time of his arrest, he was stopped by police for allegedly driving over 100 miles per hour. Chargers running back Najee Harris sustained a superficial eye injury at a 4th of July event. Harris's agent, Doug Hendrickson, said Najee, his client, and multiple people at the event were injured after a firework mishap. Harris is expected to be ready for the 2025 season, but is likely to miss the start of training camp. Najee signed a 1-year, $9.25 million deal with the Chargers this offseason after spending 4 years in Pittsburgh. Did it. Did 6 topics. Some of them were quite short, but I'll take the W anyway. Before we go on to reactions, we have no signings, like 0 signings and cuts. Maybe one that I'll just kind of read off shortly. I think it was the Seahawks. I'll have to pull it out, but I'm going to see if we have any more NFL news. I think it was the Seahawks cut. The Seahawks cut somebody. That's all I know. I think it was, Seahawks cut DB JT Woods, I believe. I think that's what it was. NFL news. Yes, actually, the Bears signed general manager Ryan Poles. They're agreeing to an extension through the 2029 season. So that's, shocking in a way, but they've had a solid offseason, so it makes sense. He has a losing record, so yeah, I don't know. That every time there's like a GM or a head coach that signs, there's really not a lot of details on the amount of money they're going to be making, so I have 0 information on how much money he will be making or whatever. But that is all. We're going to go on to reactions. I'm going to see if I can find this. I might throw a screenshot up here because this is from CBS Sports, I believe. Okay, CBS Sports trade proposal, whatever you want to call it. Who was this by? Believe Cody Benjamin of CBS Sports came up with this absolutely wild 4-team trade idea. I'm gonna read off of it first, and then I might even I don't even know if I'll pop a screenshot up here or not. But this happened earlier in the week. There was so many articles about this trade proposal, and I was like, I should react to this. So this is crazy. Get this. So this trade involves the Bengals, Vikings, Lions, and the Browns. So 4-team trade. The Bengals, they would get Justin Jefferson from the Vikings and defensive end Julian Okwara from the Browns. The Vikings would get wide receiver T. Higgins from the Bengals, corner Greg Newsome II from the Browns, a 2026 first-round pick from the Bengals, and a 2026 third-round pick from the Lions. I think the Vikings already won this trade. The Lions would get edge rusher Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals, and the Browns would get a 2026 fourth-round pick from the Lions. Whoa. That is a lot. All right, so I don't really know what sprouted this idea. I have no clue why. I don't know if he made this before or after the T. Higgins extension. But wow. Can you imagine Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase on one team? It'd be incredible to watch, but you also have to factor in the money that he'll be bringing into Cincinnati. So Cincinnati, if they can't hold Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart, they can't sign them to contracts, so we're not going to sign Justin Jefferson. So it's a great idea to have Justin Jefferson on the Bengals, but it would never work out. But who won this trade? The Bengals, Vikings, Lions, or Browns? Sure, the Bengals got Justin Jefferson, but I think the Bengals actually lost this trade. You got rid of your best defensive player. You haven't signed your rookie defensive end yet. So really the Bengals, they only got better on offense. Julian Okwara, never heard of him. So even with his presence, if this were to happen, I don't see it impacting our defense at all. The Lions, they get Trey Hendrickson. They have Aiden Hutchinson and Trey Hendrickson on one team. The Lions are in a great spot. What did they give up? They only gave up a third-round pick and a fourth-round pick for Trey Hendrickson, for crying out loud. They technically gave a third and fourth-round pick for Trey Hendrickson, which is absolutely mind-blowing to think about, even though there was other factors in this trade. So the Lions are definitely up for debate of winning this trade. The Browns, not even close. They are far from winning this trade. A 2026 fourth-round pick, while the Lions, Vikings, and the Bengals are getting stacked. So, yeah, a fourth-round pick for the Browns. They lost this trade. The Bengals and Browns lost this trade. The Vikings, they got T. Higgins, Greg Newsome, a 2026 first-round pick, and a 2026 third-round pick. So, yeah, the Bengals gave the 2026 first-round pick. So they lost Trey Hendrickson, T. Higgins, and a first-round pick. The Bengals 1,000% lost this trade, without question. without question. Um, all the Browns got rid of was Julian Okwara, Greg Newsome, and I think that's it. Yeah, so they got rid of two people for a 4th-round pick. So yeah, I mean the Lions, all they had to do was trade a 3rd-round pick, and a 4th-round pick to get Trey. This is kind of a lot to process. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of this trade and if there's even a shot at this even happening, or if this is just chaos. Like, the odds of this happening are very, very low, but it would be crazy to see this happen. I don't really want it to happen because the Bengals would lose, whether we got Justin Jefferson or not. But yeah, I think the Vikings won this trade. They got T. Higgins, him and Jordan Addison. Sure, they're wide receiver 2s currently, but one of them is definitely going to be a receiver 1. They got Greg Newsome. They got some corner help. He's not the greatest corner ever, but he's solid. They got a 1st-round pick in next year's draft and a 3rd-round pick. So really, I think the Vikings won this trade. What a reaction! That may be the wildest reaction ever on this channel. I'm not even kidding. Like, that is a lot to process, and it's pretty interesting. So let me know in the comments what you think of that. And we're going to go on to the top 10 running backs going into 2025. Last week, we talked about the top 10 quarterbacks going into 2025. I highly suggest you guys check that one out. But yeah, this week we're going to be covering the running backs. Okay, so basically, I think what I'll do here, because I started a bit late, what we might do is we might do the top 10 quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends, and then maybe like kickers or defenses, because really I'm kind of doing this just to like rank the top 10 backs going into this year to help you guys out, or to help anybody out with fantasy football. So yeah, I think I'll do quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends, kickers, and defenses. So if you're interested in fantasy football, and I highly suggest you guys try my league out. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, if anybody's doing this, these rankings will definitely help. And number 10, to start off, we're going with the Houston Texans running back Joe Mixon. I think, sure, he's not like a running back that you hear just every now and then. It's like not one of those running backs where he's one of those. It's kind of hard because he's not a good running back, but he's not a bad running back. I would say he's a solid running back. That's how I would label Joe Mixon. And as a Bengals fan, he was with Cincinnati. They got rid of him, obviously, by no shock. I think we should have kept him because he's in the top 10. But he's a very consistent back as well. Like, he can have a great run for 15 yards. He can have a 4-yard run. He can have a 1-yard run, a loss. Like, it really varies. Like, he can be a home run. He can be a home run back, or he can be just a kind of consistent back. But I think Joe Mixon is definitely a top 10 running back in this league. You could replace him with a guy like Bucky Irving, who I think is definitely coming on. But really, I've seen a lot more from Joe Mixon than I have from Bucky Irving, which is why Joe Mixon is my number 10 running back going into this season. At number 9, we have Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts. He had a really good year this past season, and is kind of being overlooked right now. I think he's one of the more underrated backs after this past season, but the only reason is that he's not even close to the top 5 yet is because I feel like he's constantly injured, doesn't produce at a high level consistently every single year. I think he'll do great this year. I think Jonathan Taylor will be a solid running back, even a great running back this year. Look out for him. I think you could definitely take him in your fantasy league if you would want to. But yeah, I think Jonathan Taylor is definitely in the conversation to go in your fantasy draft. And I also think the Colts aren't really a great team right now. And Jonathan Taylor's career, I think, is kind of being ruined by the Colts and kind of being shadowed by the Colts franchise. So I hope either play good or great on the Colts or just find a new team and kind of start fresh. But I like Jonathan Taylor a lot. He is kind of being overlooked right now, so keep an eye out for him. Trust me, he's going to have a breakout year at some point, I'm telling you. At number 8, we have Ashton Genty of the Las Vegas Raiders. A lot of people are hyping him up. I mean, a lot of people. Um, and I'm kind of in that hype too. Now, he's not quite top 5 yet. Some people could go crazy and put him in the top 5. But when it's your rookie year, we have to kind of see the product. I've heard this saying before from another podcast called, it's like, how do you know the movie's good by only watching the trailer? And we saw Ashton Genty at Boise State. Great running back, the best running back in college football. And obviously, since that's not really a Power 4 school, didn't play the best opponents, which is why they got first rounded in the playoffs. But I think Ashton Genty's going to do just fine in the NFL. I mean, with Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, the new offensive coordinator from Ohio State, I think the Raiders are trending in the right direction. And I'm telling you, Ashton Genty is going to get a lot of points racked up. Touchdowns, rushing, receiving, you name it. He's going to get a lot of points for fantasy or whatever it may be. At number 7, we have James Cook of the Buffalo Bills. He had a really productive year this past season, and I think he's going to pick up right where he left off. I think he's one of the more underrated backs. Some people don't have him in the top 5 yet. I think he's close. In my last rankings I did for the running backs in a short, I believe I had him at 3, and that was kind of a bit wild, if you would. But I'm going to see if I can find that. I believe I had him inside the top. No, I had him at 6. So I actually have him at a worse ranking than I did then. But I think he's going to have another productive year again. I really do. I hope he does. I am rooting for him. But I just feel like he's not, like, if you watched the Chiefs game last year in the AFC Championship, I believe, I mean, that one diving touchdown he had, that was incredible. I think James Cook is definitely a great running back in this league. I think he'd do great on a fantasy team. But yes, James Cook is also one of those consistent backs like Joe Mixon. I would say Joe Mixon is probably more consistent than Cook, but they're both very, very similar. And I like James Cook a lot, and I'm rooting for him this year. At number 6, we have Christian McCaffrey. In my old list, I actually didn't have him in the top 8 at all. So having him at the 6 is obviously a big jump. The only reason I did not have him in the top 8 in my last running back rankings video is really because of his injury. And I've heard he's looking really good in training camp. I am rooting for Christian McCaffrey this season. The whatever it was, Achilles tendonitis or whatever, that really definitely knocked him out. You can call it the Madden curse. You can call it whatever you want. I think that has a little bit to do with it. But I think he's going to have a great year. A lot of people are saying that the 49ers are going to make the playoffs. I think that's a bit rich, especially after everybody they lost. I mean, defense, offense, you name it, they lost pretty much every position that you can think of. And the one guy that did not lose is Christian McCaffrey. And McCaffrey is exactly the guy who kind of carried them in the, 2023 season. I mean, he did outstanding. The best running back in that league. MVP conversation as well. So, I mean, I wanted him to I was rooting for him to get MVP because you don't really see a running back play at that high of a level like we saw with Saquon this year. I think because it's such a it's like pretty much automatically quarterback for the MVP award. But to see like Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry and Saquon this past year, to see them put up the numbers that they did this year, I feel like you have to give them the nod to get the most valuable player award. And I think McCaffrey should have won it a few years back, and I think he's definitely going to be in that conversation again. The only reason he's not in my top 5 is because I am a little bit skeptical about that injury he was dealing with last year. But we will see what happens. Prove me wrong. I hope he does. But that's the one thing that's making me keep him out of the top 5. Speaking of the top 5, at number 5, I'm taking Josh Jacobs of the Green Bay Packers. And some people say that he's not quite top 5 yet. And I really do think he is. I mean, if you watched him at all for the Packers last year, he was very good. Better than Aaron Jones ever was on the Packers. And I think with the Raiders, we kind of saw what he could become. But since they weren't really a great franchise or weren't really a good team until the 2021 through 22 season when they made the playoffs, I feel like franchises kind of hold back player's potential. I think that's exactly what happened to Josh Jacobs. He had a few breakout years for the Raiders, but the Packers is where he really shined, and I think he has a lot more to give. I think he definitely has a good shot of being even better this season. I think he will be better this season. And yeah, these next four guys, obviously, he's going to have to climb the ladder a lot more to get to these top four. But Bijan Robinson of the Falcons at number 4. I always feel like the Falcons just like, if Bijan was like on the, I don't know, if he replaced, let's say, if he replaced like Saquon Barkley or something, he would be unstoppable. This is another one of those scenarios or examples of franchises kind of wasting players' career. I'm not saying that yet. Robinson is still very young. He has a lot of potential. I mean, this kid can play football. I mean, if you ever watched him play, he's very, very athletic. Like, if you watch him, like he always has his first touchdown of his career, I believe, when he caught the ball and like stopped immediately, and the guy like flew, like snapped ankles. It was incredible. And that one behind the back catch that he made a few years back, maybe it was just last year. But I love Bijan, and I think he's definitely in the conversation to be top 3. It's very, very close. But at number 3, I have Jahmyr Gibbs. Some people have Bijan at number 3. Some people have Jahmyr and Bijan switch. But I like Gibbs a lot. A speedy receiver. He's quick. He's fast. I mean, you watch him play. He's incredible. I think he has a great opportunity to be even better this season with the Lions. The only reason I am skeptical about the Lions coming into this year is really losing Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. I feel like those two guys, the two coordinators, those are huge losses for them. But I think the offense will pick up right where they left off. And Jahmyr Gibbs was a big part of that. I just love watching him play. I mean, like I just mentioned, he's fast. I mean, he can pretty much do whatever you want him to. And I love watching him play. The 1 and 2 spots are pretty much automatic at this point. Like, it's not even up for debate. Number 2, Derrick Henry of the Baltimore Ravens. We saw him play in Tennessee. Excuse me. Before he went to the Ravens, and obviously we were all impressed. We all knew who Derrick Henry was. They call him King Henry, but since joining the Ravens, he's been outstanding. Outstanding. Top 2 running back in this league. You could make the argument that he was top 2 before he joined the Ravens, but I think he's been better since he was with Baltimore. Him and Lamar, that duo, is nasty. I mean, I'm telling you, it's absolutely so much fun to watch. When you're playing them, it's not. When you aren't, it's absolute cinema. And I love watching Derrick Henry play. He's one of the bigger. He's not quick like Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan Robinson, but he's big and he's also fast. I mean, for a guy his size, he can run. I mean, he's not like Jahmyr Gibbs, but Derrick Henry. I mean, we all know the stiff arm and everything. He has the strength. He has the speed. He can pretty much do it all. At number 1, there's really no question. It's Saquon Barkley, without a doubt. I mean, doing what he did just this past year is insane for a running back, and I think he should have won MVP this year. We'll see if the Madden curse is actually real. I mean, I've heard it hits running backs harder than anybody else, so we'll see if he can pick up right where he left off. But yeah, I think Saquon, there's really no explanation of why he's number 1. We all know why. The backwards hurdle, whatever you want to call it, ever since he came to Philly, his potential has, in New York, sure, he was fine. Injury prone a little bit. Since Philly, he's been absolutely dominant, and there's no question to why he's even number 1 on this list. That is my top 10 running backs going into this year. Let me know what you guys think of that list. I think it's pretty solid. Let me know if you guys want to see any changes for that. But yes, we are going to go on to the quiz. And this week's quiz was pretty much a blowout in favor of me, I believe. Yeah. I'm going to pull it up in just a little bit. I'm going to make sure we don't have any more NFL news. I do not believe we do. Not seeing much. But anyway, the quiz. Which number has been worn by the most Hall of Famers? Number 12, number 14, 16, or 18? 18, 0%, 16, 8%, 14, 25%, and 12, 67%. I can see why most of you said 12, only because Tom Brady, I feel like. But I mean, yeah, pretty much very simple. No one picked 18. 16 was the correct answer. Only 8% of you got that right. I'm kind of cooking with these quizzes recently. I'm not gonna stop the train yet. It's gonna keep on rolling. Now we're gonna go on to the question of the week, and this one was actually very tight. I will say, will the 49ers make the playoffs this season? Yes or no? Yes, 47%, and no, 53%. Originally, it was like 50-50, and then yes was like winning 53 to 47, and now it's completely flip-flopped. I could see it going either way. If I had to pick one, I would probably pick no. Only just with how many pieces that they lost this offseason. That's pretty much been their storyline this year, is the guys they lost on defense and offense. But yeah, I think they have a good shot. A lot of people say they're going to win the division. I don't really see it. I think the Rams are still going to win that division. The Seahawks aren't close. The Cardinals aren't really close. The 49ers are definitely climbing up the ladder again. But if I had to pick who's going to win the division, it'd be the Rams. And I think the 49ers do have a solid chance of like slipping into the wild card potentially. But overall, I just don't really see the 49ers getting into the postseason. A lot of you did, actually. So, with that being said, that is episode 61 this week. If you enjoyed, hit the like, the subscribe button, and the notification bell to get notified of every single upload this channel makes. Check out last week's episode where I talked about the Dolphins trading Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith to the Steelers in exchange for Minkah Fitzpatrick, and some picks were also exchanged as well. That one's a must watch. Highly suggest you guys check that one out. And with that being said, before I go, I do want to say we have 8 slots left in the Deacon's NFL Talk Fantasy League. We have one person who's trying to join. He's having a little bit of errors or something. But there's like 3 people that said they joined and they haven't joined yet. So if that's you, make your account right now and try and get into the league. It's a lot of fun, I'll tell you that. If you haven't said that you want to get in yet, just comment on this video or a post or whatever, and I can tell you guys how to get in. It's a lot of fun, trust me. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week for another great episode on Deacon's NFL Talk.